What's going on, everyone? So, assuming that Jordan Goodwin plays today against the Indiana Pacers, this would be the last game that he has available with the Lakers on a two-way. Remember, two-way players are limited on how many games that they can play, which would mean that he wouldn't be able to play in the Chicago Bulls game tomorrow. Now, obviously, Lakers, they could, and depending on when you're watching this video, it's very possible it's already happened. The Lakers could waive a guy and then bring in Jordan Goodwin. Made this point, brought this up like 6 or 7 days ago now, because they had 5 games left. And, it was kind of like, do the Lakers let them go through those 5 games and then make the signing, or do they do the signing now and then just kind of have him through the rest of the season? Now, the reason the Lakers would wait till the last minute, you could argue 2 reasons. One, because why not let him play those games and then sign him to the season? If he signed for the season, he could play those games regardless. But the biggest reason and culprit is taxes, right? Like, they have to waive a guy who ends up getting attached to the salary cap, right? It's not like that money just absolves itself. So they got to pay for that. And then they sign Jordan Goodwin to his contract, and then that ends up costing them money. And, so it saves them money. No, it's silly. I think it's, you could argue it's a little unfair. Not even a little. It is unfair to the actual player, right? Because they'd make more money on an actual contract than they would on a two-way. But, for a guy like Jordan Goodwin, who's trying to find a home and has kind of been hopping around teams, Lakers, ideally, he's trying to have that be his home, right? It's not so much about just this season and him playing, the next 11 games or whatever. It's about him playing, these next 11 games, the playoffs, and then getting a new contract in the offseason to where he can get, a 4-year deal or something like that. That's his goal. That's his ambition. Still 26 years old. He turned 26 in October, so he's still very young. And he's been a huge impact to this Lakers team, right? Lakers did a really good job of finding just a quality gem from him. I mean, there's a genuine argument to start him, right? Like, having him and Dorian Finney-Smith in the starting unit, because he's one of our best scrappers, right? He's one of the best guys that is good at defending multiple positions. He is a above average rebounder, especially for a guard position, right? You think of like the great rebounding guards in the league right now, and think of guys like, Josh Hart and Jordan Goodwin, right? That's kind of what he's always done, even in other stints with other teams. The thing that he's always been able to kind of fall back on is his rebounding at the guard spot. And then his ability to do the dirty work, make the hustle plays, right? He has a really good nose for the ball on both the defensive side of things and rebounding. And he knows, understands, and plays his role well, right? You get a lot of guys that, they're there to play a specific role, but they want to like kind of do a little too much, or they get a little carried away, or they start getting, start feeling themselves a little bit because things are cooking. And he's a guy that just stays the course. And I love that about him, right? It's a guy that knows and gets it. And I mean, he said himself, the Lakers brought him in to do 2 things: rebound and defend. And what are the 2 things he has done best with? Rebounding and defending. Now, offensively, you obviously want him to give you something on the offensive end, which he has. He's had some games, don't get me wrong, where he's had some duds offensively, but he's had some games where he's been actually very good offensively and has given you, 17 points and 15 points and 14 points. And he's had some solid offensive contributions on a pretty regular basis. And especially for a guy that you're looking to be really your 7th, 8th, 9th guy, particularly on the offensive side of things, even if you were to have him start, right? He's kind of the afterthought, right? You're going to have, like, let's say, you had him start with, let's say, Reeves in the starting unit, right? You're going to have, Luka, Reeves, LeBron be your main options. Jackson Hayes, because Luka and Reeves and LeBron like to get him those lobs and keep him engaged and involved. So Jordan Goodwin's a guy that's just kind of the afterthought. He's just there kind of collecting whatever's left. And then especially off the bench, a lot of the same thing, collecting whatever's left. But, you look at what he's done this season in 18 games played, Started 5 of them. 21 minutes per game is what he's averaging. 5.3 attempts. He is shooting 48% from the floor, from 3-point range on 2.5 attempts, which isn't a huge sample size each game, but it's still good. He's shooting 42.4% from 3-point range, which, if this holds, would be by far the best of his career. The second best he's had was a 32.2% season with Washington on 1.9 attempts. Last year for Memphis on 3.6 attempts, he shot 31.1%. So he's shooting the ball for the Lakers. And that's a thing that, usually the trend is the opposite, right? Usually a guy shoots 42%. I mean, even Dorian Finney-Smith was shooting, over 40% from 3-point range with the Nets and is shooting 37% for the Lakers. So even him, as great as he's actually been picking up too, as far as shooting the basketball. He's actually, the last 5 to 7 games, he's actually been much better and much improved shooting the 3 ball. He's had a couple games in between, but for the most part, been really good. But 2-point range, 2.8 attempts. He's shooting 53%. He has an EFG of 57.8%, which is by far his best EFG of his career. Again, that year in Washington with 50% was the best EFG. He's shooting 81.8% from the foul line, which would be the second best of his career. He shot in Phoenix 86.2%. He's averaging 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 7 points. So he's basically a 7-4 guy, and just really, again, just making a real impact out there on the court. Now, his per 36 numbers. Now, obviously, per 36 doesn't give you all of the details, doesn't give you everything, but it's a good kind of measure on what if he was getting full-time starting level minutes, what kind of production would he be giving you? Well, he'd be an 11-7 guy with 2.5 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. Right? It's excellent. Excellent. Again, for your 5th starter, assuming he was getting those minutes, or even as a 6th man or something like that, assuming he was getting the per 36. So he's a guy that could give you something, or at least this year, we'll see, going forward, particularly also the playoffs, but he's a guy that's giving you production on both sides of the basketball, right? One of the big issues the Lakers have had all year, and really for several years, is having too many one-dimensional guys, right? We got a lot of guys that can score the basketball, can't really defend. Got a lot of guys that can defend, right? Can't really score the basketball, right? So to have guys like a Dorian Finney-Smith who can do both, get a guy like a Jordan Goodwin who can do both, this is very beneficial to the Lakers. I mean, I think there's even a genuine argument to start Jordan Goodwin over Austin Reeves, not because he's better than Austin Reeves or anything like that, right? It's because Luka loves to really kind of set the tone in the first quarter, right? Usually he takes a good bulk of his shots in the first quarter, right? So we've seen in these games where you've had LeBron, Luka, and Reeves kind of gets phased out early in games, right? And because Luka's, trying to get himself going and kind of set the tone the rest of the way. So there is an argument for Jordan Goodwin to start because he's a guy that can defend, do the dirty work, make the hustle plays, and just be a catch and shoot guy, rather than, Austin Reeves, who's best with the ball in his hands, being aggressive in an attack mode. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's nothing to do with Austin Reeves has been fantastic these last 30 games or whatever, but there are genuine questions with Reeves, LeBron, and Luka if those 3 guys can kind of coexist on the offensive side of things. And then there's also the concern defensively with Luka and Reeves as your starting backcourt, and you're seeing teams really starting to punish them and target them and going after them. Where if you have a guy like Jordan Goodwin alongside Dorian Finney-Smith, you just have a much better balanced starting unit with a Luka, Jordan Goodwin, who could do all the dirty work, make all the hustle plays, right? Defend, rebound, do all that stuff, right? Especially if Luka is having clunkers early on, right? He's a guy that can go get you second chance opportunities. Have a guy in Dorian Finney-Smith that can defend multiple positions and do the dirty work and hustle and, scrap. And now you got your 2 scrappers with Jackson Hayes, LeBron James, and Luka. I just think that's a much better balanced starting 5, right? Again, it's nothing to do with Reeves and his production or him outside of just it you need some change. change, right? And it's about what's best for the team. And Reeves off the bench can now be aggressive, be Austin Reeves, because now Luka goes out or LeBron goes out and Reeves comes in. And we've seen that Luka and Reeves can coexist. We've seen that LeBron and Reeves can coexist. But can all three coexist? That's the question. And coexist enough to where it makes sense and you're not being punished for them being out there, right? But regardless, Lakers are going to have a decision. I mean, it could come today, right? Lakers could end up waiving Cam Reddish, let Jordan Goodwin play the game today. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers play today and as soon as that game's over, like Cam Reddish or somebody ends up getting waived and the Lakers sign Jordan Goodwin. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, depending on when you're watching this video, it may have already happened. Lakers may have already signed Jordan Goodwin. Give you that update. So stay tuned for that in case you end up missing it elsewhere. I will have it here. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, like, yes, Jordan Goodwin, he's earned the spot. He deserves the spot. Give him the spot. Do you think, like, no, like, you're fine without him? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.